Shabbat Shalom and greetings to you all. Now, a lot of people really enjoyed the genie story last week because they all would have wished for the same things. And these are the things that we wish for: riches, beauty, happiness, love. And we need to be reminded by the genies in our lives, the angels, the messengers that we all come across, that we are and have each of those things. We just need to learn to see better, my friends. And what better time than now? During this countdown to the days of awe, the new year for the new life, this is the month of healing. So take advantage. We can heal before we face the judgment in the mirror of self so that we can see with clear eyes. And we can see who we really are. And maybe, just maybe, we can use some of our wishes to wish for peace and prosperity and health and opportunity for all of humanity in the world. So let's start this week by invoking healing and renewal for everybody that you know and for the souls and spirits of everybody you know. So think of whoever that needs healing and renewal and love or just goodwill. Focus on them. Call their names. It's not just for people. It's for our pets. It's for the earth. It's for the healing of the earth. The tikkun olam that's part of our spiritual genetic makeup. For Bob and Ben. For Sophia's dear father, George F. Strathu. For Andrea. For my dear friend Devora, the queen bee. And of course, make sure you include yourself for healing and renewal, my friends. We all need renewal. It is the kindness, healing, wishes, goodwill, and love that we all send out. It just circles the world, finding those in need. So thank you, each of you, for all you do, for all you care, because the world is a world of spirit, and spirit never dies. Avotenu Makor HaBracha Limotenu, may the source of strength you bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit. Amen. Misha Baruch, let us all have our spirits renewed. We are all spirit, my friend. And this is the great prayer for healing, in which we call upon God to heal as he has healed before. Misha Baruch, may he who blessed. And in this month, the blessing of healing, let us all heal before we face the judgment of self. And let's also come together also, as we do as a like-minded group, like souls unifying of spirit, because it's a beautiful thing as we gather, the collective consciousness of spirit seekers coming together and showing of faith, of love as a community, a chavura fellowship, expressing our nature of kindness, compassion, thoughts, feelings, hopes, dreams, and wishes that unites us all in this great community house of spirit, Beth Ruach. So once again, please do go ahead and invite everybody you know, physically, psychically, emotionally, spiritually, to gather and share from Psalm 133, the Hine Matov. Come together. Hine Matov. How good, how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters together. Community, 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 together. And we are a community, my friends. We're a community who let us all spread love, goodwill, fellowship to the entire world. And don't forget to give thanks for the things that we have. As we light our candles, share a cup of wine and a piece of bread, the tools of life and sustenance and fellowship that we observe daily, but especially every Friday in our Sabbath remembrance and observation. Remember, friends, this is your setting aside just a tiny little bit of your own sacred space and your own sacred time to talk to whoever, whatever you happen to believe in. It's a part of your kavanah, your intention, your personal goodwill to the universe. So this week, my friends, we read shoftim, judges. And even though it's kind of about judges, it's really about the need for impartiality and judgment. Now, Deuteronomy 16:18. They shall judge the people, judgment with justice. And isn't that what we're looking for in the next month during the days of judgment? Impartiality, judgment with justice. Now remember, this book is a retelling of the law, a retelling of what we've already read. But friends, this starts with a very interesting statement: judgment with justice. Judgment and justice are not the same thing. Now, while judges and lawyers can be part of one of the noblest endeavors of humankind, the law, when they fail to pursue justice in their performance of judgment, they pervert and degrade the law, and therefore they demean humankind completely. Now, the same goes for anyone else involved in the execution of justice. They either elevate or lower themselves and all of us by the degree of their commitment to justice. And we're reminded, Deuteronomy 16:19, you shall not bend judgment, you shall not recognize a face, you shall not take a bribe, because bribery will blind the eyes of the wise and undermine the words of the virtuous. Now, these are obvious, but they need to be stated and restated. Why? One must pursue justice for everyone, for both the plaintiff and the defense in a civil matter, and both the defendant and the prosecution or the people in a criminal matter. And here we are, thousands of years later, and we still have to worry about judgment with justice. It should be automatic. Well, we're coming up on those days of judgment when the great judge seals the 3 books of life. And we certainly do not doubt that in the eyes of God, there is judgment with justice. And so it should be that way with every single one of us, in both receiving and unfortunately in giving, because some of us judge too much. And friends, this hints at something that's also covered in this parsha, and that I'm going to focus a little bit on. And that's really, it's all about boundaries. You know, the day destroys the night and divides the day. Try to run, try to hide, break on through to the other side. Break on through to the other side. Break on through to the other side. Now, as hard as it is to believe, that song by The Doors is the #1 song that comes up about borders or boundaries. And that's really what I want to focus on, is the boundaries. Boundaries are essential in life. The boundaries to the nation are given, right? There are boundaries for each tribe's land. And the land is everything in this book. And its allocation determines everything throughout history. The property boundaries, which were so important in the distribution of land to everyone, the land that can never leave the family, which necessitated the law of the Jubilee, the return. And even though this parsha talks about the physical boundaries, we are governed far more by personal ones. Individual and for the community. Now remember this one about witnesses? We're reminded here again in Deuteronomy 17:6, on the word of 2 witnesses or 3 witnesses shall the one who is to die be put to death. One shall not be put to death on the word of 1 witness. Witnesses, an important part of the consideration. There had to be 2. And in this case, it's of course significant that witnesses have to know that if they testify against someone in a capital case, they will have to strike the first blows against the defendants themselves. That will keep them honest. You see, in biblical law, the community must know if they're going to have capital punishment, they must understand this means the community as a whole is taking lives. There is no executioner. So there could be no mistaking this point. The entire community must participate in the execution. Now, in post-biblical societies, where the entire people do not participate personally, this point can be easily forgotten, like in our society. But it's true all the same. A community that has capital punishment is responsible as a community for the lives it takes. Now, it's not just the executioner or just the witnesses or just the courts. Now, perhaps this fact, that in ancient Israel, all the people had to carry out the execution, is one of the forces that led Israel to make capital punishment almost impossible in rabbinic law. That was a boundary protecting life that has not been broken for thousands of years. Right? And again, 2 witnesses, because one can be wrong, 2 can't be. There are other boundaries we establish, and those boundaries get established in our jobs, in our families, in our lives. There are boundaries everywhere. And more times than not, my friends, we tend to let our boundaries be crossed. There's a place, so I've been told, every street is paved with gold, and it's just across the borderline. When it's time to take your turn, there's a lesson you must learn. You could lose more than you ever hope to find. And when you reach the broken promised land, all your dreams flow through your hands. You will know it's too late to change your mind. You paid the price, come so far, just to wind up where you are, and you're still just across the borderline. Borders. Establish boundaries in your lives, my friends, but live your life. Maintain them, but don't let them stop you from living, and don't be afraid to modify them as needed. And the Torah tells us to be flexible. Deuteronomy 17:8. If a matter for judgment will be too daunting for you, between blood and blood, between law and law, and between injury and injury, matters of disputes in your gates, then you shall get up and go to the place that the Lord your God will choose. Now, friends, different circumstances dictate different approaches. Things change over time. Situations change. Situations become different. Maybe unanticipated events occur. In every law code, there must be a mechanism for change and for application to new and difficult situations. Even if the law is divine law, there must be such a mechanism, and the Torah recognizes this and provides for it in this section. It directs that in such difficult questions, the authorities, taken to be judges and priests, that is, the authorities in law and religion, in each age shall determine what to do. This has always been done in Judaism, which is one of the wonderful things that sets it apart. It's not just stuck in what had been written once. It will change, and it will change over time. What it is today is not going to be what it is in the future. There's a need for a mechanism for change. The primary consideration when authorities, including scholars and rabbis, determine that a law is changed, that they do so with wisdom and reverence, and not with ego and arrogance. And I like to think that's the way it is. Differences arise, change may be needed, always will be. As Randy Newman saying, I'm different. I don't care who knows. Something about me is not the same. I'm different. That's how it goes. Ain't gonna play your goddamn game. Got a different way of walking. Got a different kind of smile. Got a different way of talking. Drives the women kind of wild. We all have different boundaries, my friends. And that's what causes most of our problems. And this parsha also gives us clues to other kinds of future events. There's a statement about the nation wanting a king. So this was probably written from the perspective of 2020 hindsight. But it looks like a prediction. But even still, there are to be boundaries around the king. Deuteronomy 17:18. And it will be when he sits on his kingdom's throne that he shall write himself a copy of this instruction on a scroll from in front of the Levite priest. Now the king is to be actively engaged in personally producing a text of the teaching. And you may be reading a translation that embellishes the simple verb write by representing it as caused to be written. But that misses the point. The king is to write this himself. It says he is to write a copy of this teaching or instruction, which can also be translated as a repetition of this teaching, which of course in Hebrew is Mishnah HaTorah Hazot, and that is of course one of the Hebrew names for the book of Deuteronomy, the repetition of the teaching. We're also told that the king must be chosen by God. And this means that a prophet must designate the king is chosen by God. And God can change who is king, as he did when he decided to replace Saul with David. And part of the reason for it is because there are other boundaries put around the king, and those boundaries get crossed. He's not to have too many horses. He shall not get himself many wives, so his heart shall not turn away. He shall not get himself very much silver and gold. He's to remain normal with his ego in check. Now, that's a memo that kind of got lost over time with a lot of kings in a lot of places. And so God will make changes. And all of the Parsha ends with a section that deals with soldiers. It's an interesting way to also view boundaries. It's about people's hearts. Now, as we just had the reference to the king's heart, and this can be found in Deuteronomy 25. Whatever man has built a new house and not dedicated it, let him go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle and another man dedicate it. Whatever man has planted a vineyard, not enjoyed it, let him go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle and another man enjoy it. And whatever man has betrothed a woman and not wed her, let him go and return to his house, lest he die in battle and another man wed her. Friends, we face battles or choices all the time, often because boundaries are being crossed or challenged. Let your heart be not faint, it says. Do not fear, do not quake, do not dread them. Now, while written for the citizen soldier, it is about all of our boundaries in life, about the people and the places that exist in our lives. There are places I'll remember all my life, though some have changed, some forever, not for better. Some have gone, but some remain. All these places had their moments with lovers and friends I still can recall. Some are dead, some are living in my life. I love them all. Now, we change over time. Our boundaries change over time. But one thing has never changed. We do not seek adversity. We seek peace. And sometimes it's the confrontation over our boundaries that brings us to battle. But this parsha reminds us, when you do go to battle, call for peace. When you approach a town to do battle against it, call to it for peace. Fight when you have to, my friends, but seek peace in all instances. Your heart determines your boundaries. Your heart is limitless. Follow it. Yes, the world is sacred. So is everything in it. Express your gratitude. Light a candle, make a wish. Celebrate your life and the lives of those you love. Share your feelings with them. Live free, be free, honor your freedom, be well, be happy, be blessed. Share and honor the light and all who live in the light and continue to shine. Continue to send everybody you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everyone. An end to terror and hatred. Remember, friends, we are a community. We learn together, we celebrate each other, we love each other, we share this ride together, men and women equally. Let us send out love, not fear, send out peace, harmony, goodwill, and healing to all who need it. And please do, learn to forgive, learn to love, including yourself. Open your hearts, honor the relationships of your life, and tell those you love that you love them. Take advantage of the time you have. Enjoy your journey, my friends. We take the twists and turns and the patterns that weave through the fabric of our lives in our effort to grow, to learn, to be, to love. So please do love. Now, bless you all. Have a fantastic week, a week of love and light, a week of peace, a week of miracles. Examine your intentions and use them to imprint your will on the universe. Because we set in motion all that happens in our lives. Our intention, our kavana, our cause, our effect, everything is linked. As I've said, you always have time to forgive and to be forgiven. You have the knowledge of what is good and bad. So acknowledge what you have done wrong to yourself, to God, and to any other person you've wronged, and ask forgiveness. But do so with sincerity, with accountability, and with vulnerability. Forgive those who've hurt you as you learn to be forgiving and to be compassionate. Because the secret of forgiveness, compassion, and peace, my friends, is in acceptance. Can you accept yourself, other people in the world just as they are? Can you accept life just as it is without trying to control it? If you do, you can experience the peace that acceptance brings. So do not stop your journey. Do not stop moving towards your promised land, your home. Keep on dreaming, keep on being, keep sharing, keep shining, keep teaching. Keep spreading joy and goodwill. Do not follow fear, follow love. It's always there in front of you. And remember to have faith, an unwavering adherence to principle. Just as I have faith in the principle of love and in all of you. Act with purity of heart and mind. Despise none, defraud none, hate none. Cherish all. Honor every child of God, every creature of the earth, every being of light. May all people know peace in this year. May you nurture kindness and love everywhere you go, and work to be present in the body. Expand your heart, quiet your mind, because the deepest source of power lies in consciousness and your ability to be mindful, to be aware, to be present in all of life's circumstances. Just work on it. Make the most of your time. Continue to touch and transform lives around you. Everybody you touch helps touch you back. You're forever blessed, and you have the ability to bring blessings to everybody you meet. Health, love, renewal to everybody you come across. We're all energy, and energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be transformed. Your words are your power to transform, to love, to bless. Be generous with them. Bless others. Bless yourself. Love with your heart. We're all part of a greater whole. Embrace love, not fear. Forgiveness, not anger. Be there for someone, because someone will always be there for you, whether you know it or not. And continue to explore faith and belief, and do not accept shame as a natural state. Whatever you feel, others have felt. Whatever you've experienced, others have too. We share together. We learn together. We help each other. We are each of us trying to find love and acceptance and support. We all have or could have that special someone in our lives. So find them and tell them what they mean. And remember, you're never alone on your journey to your promised land. Watch your words. They can hurt you, they can heal you, they can imprison you, and they can free you. Protect your boundaries and be free to be you. And you'll find that you fight an awful lot less. And now, the end is near. So I face the final curtain, my friends. I'll say it clear. I state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full. I've traveled each and every highway, but more than this, I did it my way. Now that song is probably the greatest song about personal boundaries. Friends, do it your way. Have no regrets. Be happy, be healthy, be helpful, be kind, and be loving. Use this month to heal. Print your will on the blank canvas of life and keep celebrating being free to be you. Have a great week, my friend. Shabbat shalom and blessings to you all. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care. Bye.